Yes. Let's join NALD. You just spoke with $4, I'll take it. But it wasn't a total waste of time. Aronval noticed something odd about her. He thinks she might be having visions almost constantly, which is not how the echo normally works. Have you found anything here which might explain why it's so different from her? We've been hard pressed just to organize the research materials, let alone study them. We're going to welcome the science expert and assist them. If you have time to lend a hand. That's interesting. In combination with the testing was a critical integrity, I did begin to see exactly what the Imperials were attempting here. Trying to recreate Quayle's echo. Interesting. UL'DAH has been forced to experiment against the agony of those who lies destroyed. The guilt must be unbearable. Explains her request to be executed. Well, she can suffer on for now. We have more pressing matters to consider. The results of these experiments have been relayed back to the Garlemon. It will be not to stop the Empire from repeating the trick. It could give the echo to anyone to an entire legion. These procedures, and Fordle remains our best source of information. She'll not be getting her wish, not yet. People respond to passion, but not if it's feigned. We should leave the flames to it. Let's go. Well, looking for answers with Echo and ended up getting scolded by a robot. Yet more of it is that I don't know what I'm doing. It's no wonder people listen to him and not me. Alden's a veteran of countless campaign leads. You cannot compare yourself to a commander of his experience. I know, but I also know that I couldn't have convinced that mob to give up and go home. Makes me realize how much we rely on his authority, and how much I still have to learn. What he'll do when everything is here settled. I mean, it's his homeland. After going to the trouble of winning it back, might he not want to stay? This is the quandary which countless refugees now face. To continue the life they built in UL'DAH, or start again in the land there of their birth. A moment. Visit Pippin. From UL'DAH with a message from the Sultana. Grace desires an audience with you. She understands that you have responsibilities, but asks that you visit the palace at your earliest convenience. Well, I must not wait to attend other business. Until next time, friends. Prefect Dobbins to inquire about the General's future plans. Well, I'd like to know about those, Alphino. Not everyone's comfortable interrogating royalty as you. Take notice of him. Getting back to my own task, I'll organize a squad to head down to the roots, and then start preparing for the big meeting. I'll send THANALAN my regards. Alright, I'll go tell THANALAN your regards, don't worry. You're expected. Please proceed.
I thank you for answering my summons in these most interesting times. You have been busy. The liberation of Alamigo will have far-reaching consequences, and there is a matter upon which I would seek your counsel. I speak of Rauban and his future. All know the tale of his rise from penniless refugee to member of the Syndicate and General of the Immortal Flames. Yet though he has come to call UL'DAH home, it will never be his homeland. He is a son of Alamigo. And now that she is free, I thought it only a matter of time before he sought my leave to return to her. Indeed, I had resigned myself to his loss. Suffice it to say, I was greatly surprised to hear him speak so lightly of handing over the reins in Alamigo and retaking his place at my side. I will welcome him with open arms, of course. He is my most trusted advisor and my dearest friend. But I have known the man a long time, and beneath that steely gaze, I spied a flicker of doubt. Whether Rauban chooses to remain in UL'DAH or return to Alamigo, I only wish that he do so with a heart unburdened by guilt or regret. Yet, how can he freely make such a choice, knowing how much I depend on him? It is past time that I learned to discharge my duties as a sultana alone. I must go forth and see my realm with my own eyes, and hear the wind with my own ears. Might I have your company for a brief adventure? Wonderful! Allow me a moment to change into something a touch less conspicuous, and I will join you outside.
What do you think of Lilyria, the merchant's daughter? This is the disguise I don when I wish to leave the palace and observe my subjects unnoticed. Ordinarily, Pashan would accompany me, but for this particular outing, I need an advisor, not a minder. And that is why I requested your company. Over the course of your many adventures, you have met people from all walks of life, in every corner of UL'DAH, and I would make use of your worldly experience. Let us be on our way. Our first destination is Stone's Throw, just beyond the gate of NALD. Procession of tattered turrets. These Rushi's camp in squalor, at the mercy of the elements and THANALAN's predators both. The walls offer safety, but the streets overfull of people as it is, and I'm unless blessed by the hand of NALD himself. No refugee could ever hope to afford dwelling in UL'DAH. Well, not Alamigo, and 5 is its economy. Yet the plight of the poor has grown more desperate, not less. As Sultan, the blame falls upon me. You have done your best, Your Grace. Then my best has not been good enough. Shall we press on? I will follow the road to the unholy air. It was here in the holy, unremarkable place that my brother and father met their doom. I was my parents were returning from the inspection of our interest in Eastern THANALAN, and the ultimate wrong side crushed our carriage. To this day, just 13 of the incident was simple misfortune or an expert planned assassination. Roland once offered to reopen the investigation and bring me to the truth. He assumed I must surely crave to refuse. Stripped by the masters, we could only have brought their hirelings to justice. The true villains, those who plotted to put me on the throne as a little puppet, will ever be on our reach. The dead plan to strip the merchants of their power and place our nation in the hands of its citizens. Quite unaware of the consequences of my actions, would have for you and yours, but should think how many good these souls paid the price of my naivety. No longer re-answering words with witless obedience. I will not be used as a pawn in the monstrous, damnable games. Forgive my outburst. You are one of the few people to whom I feel I can speak my mind. Come, let us return to UL'DAH and visit the Colosseum. From the moment I became Sultana, I found myself thrust into an endless parade of documents, signing and ceremonies. To the winner's purse, he swore that he would one day offer me his blade in service. Surrounded as I was obliged in matters, I confess I dismissed it as a pleasant piece of theater.
Your Grace, you mustn't! The danger is too great! Please, Your Grace, come back! I beg of you!
It seems you're the one who needs looking after, Master Sham. Raban!
Your Grace, I have kept the promise made.
So you have, and in turn, so too shall I keep mine. With your winnings, you have become one of the 6 most wealthy souls in all UL'DAH, and so, as tradition dictates, Rauban Aldin, you have earned yourself a seat on the Syndicate. May your new station garner you still greater glories.
I am honored, Your Grace, and vow to serve with every fiber of my being from this day till my last. Long live the Sultana, and long live UL'DAH!
Cannot well express what Mancy means to me. There are others who care deeply for my well-being, of course. Papa Shan's to me is that of a grandsire. But upon matters of governance, I cannot turn to bodyguards and maid servants for counsel. The Rubon of his authority of this syndicate position was the first sword I could wield. His was the only edge which could cut strings that bound me. Must make haste. My absence will not go unnoticed by the Sultan sworn. And there are other places I would visit. To the Arzanef ossuary. Since that day I have made a custom of visiting the shrine during each of his little excursions. Fuck up on my choice and ask myself if I am fulfilling my duties as Sultana. You're rightly celebrated as a champion because you have led the line in 100 of battles. In much the same way I believe the measure of a monarch in how people in time of adversity. If I am to be a Sultana, word to the name, I cannot turn a blind eye to the troubles facing UL'DAH. I've chosen my path. With Alamigo now free from imperial chains, I finally see a way to get aid to the refugees. Already many displaced Alamigans seek to begin the long trek home. To facilitate the process, I have made a small contribution, an artisan school in Roglar's Reach for any who wish to learn new trades. Realistically, however, it will take years for such training to yield tangible benefits. We do not have years. These people will need shelter and employment. If they are to survive, and this time the Olden Treasury shall provide. Precisely where and how to allocate the necessary funds is, of course, another question. But you asked a member of the syndicate for why not seek the advice of one of who employs refugees? Lolorito, right? Why I suggested mayhap I visited the Gold Saucer. Oh, Gold Saucer. Wait. Proprietor is a member of the Signet, and he is one of the few who pay refugees a fair wage. Is she talking about Godbert Manderville? Hildebrand's father? Is she talking about Hildebrand's dad? She's talking about Godbert, right? When are you? Oh yeah, she is. Godbert Manderville. Alright, so Godbert Manderville. Alright, let's go. Let's go meet Godbert. Then I did not explain his eccentric nature. Let us make our way to the landing, and I'll see that word is sent to Gold Saucer. Godbert should be only too glad to receive us. You gotta go to the airship landing then. I've ridden aboard a public airship before, but this shall be my first visit a Gold Saucer. I must confess to some excitement. Speak with the Namo at the Gold Saucer. Yeah, I can just teleport there, so that's fine. Heard description of its splendors, yet I never dreamed it would be so bright and inviting. I couldn't possibly. We did not come here to fritter away the royal coin. Godbert will be expecting us. Come, let us head directly to the lounge and ignore these gaudy temptations. Lounge is all the way there, right? I believe this is where we are to meet Lord Manderville. Shall we sit while we await his coming? My apologies, I have kept you waiting. No apologies are necessary, Godbert. My request was sudden, and you were kind to make yourself available at such short notice. My son's good friend and the Sultana herself come calling. There is no more important engagement. Residing in THANALAN, sure. Aware that many of Alamigo's displaced sons and daughters long to return to their newly liberated homeland. And you are also aware of how they will suffer without shelter and work to sustain them. It is their nation's wealth to spare them that suffering. What advice have you for me on the matter of how it might best be distributed? Under the circumstances of our meeting and your grace choice of companion suggests me a desire for an honest and unvarnished opinion. I shall give you one. My advice is for you to stop Taxing UL'DAH's wealth to save Alamegan refugees is a terrible, terrible idea. You oppose my proposition? Most emphatically, I agree with your grace that the refugees must have housing and employment. But what profit is there for UL'DAH in this arrangement? Profit? After all you have done for ABANIA's displays, I thought you would be the last person to seek benefit from their misfortune. Forgive me, your grace, but you appear to be laboring under a misapprehension. Fine endeavor to support one's fellow man, I fear. However, that sheer stance is one born of pity. Your intent is to save the refugees, is it not? For all our potential, we are indolent creatures by nature. If unconditional charity is all we know, then we begin to rely upon it, to expect it. Then we must consider UL'DAH's own poor and downtrodden. Should they hear of your spending the nation's coin, not to improve their lot, but to nurture the distant citizens of Alamigo, it is unlikely they will applaud. It is unlikely that they'll like that. Surely it is not your grace intention to foster new resentments, but to spread goodwill. Indeed, then any support I pledge to refugees must promote self-sufficiency, whilst also serving the interests of the people of UL'DAH. Exactly so. Such an arrangement will create a far more equitable relationship. With the returning of Alamegans, even as a generous revenue required to win approval of your subjects. You have given me much to ponder, Lord Manderville. Thank you for your candor. We need to find a solution that benefits everyone, right? No scene needs to be reassessing her plans. That never even crossed my mind. Something about limiting my naivety will not do anyone any good. Shall I consider my lesson there and press on? You pretend acquainted with any successful mission, if any attempt at philanthropy is obliged to reap a profit, it would seem wise to consult with someone with a knack for the business. I don't want to mention it, but I guess we could ask Lolorito. If you hold this Hancock fellow in high esteem, I am content to be led by you. You may repay my faith by journeying distant from Ronnie and speaking with him on my behalf. A fair journey to you, and a swift one if you please. Alright, let's go talk to Hancock then. To what do I owe the pleasure, or are you here on a business? Beg your pardon, the Sultana would have my opinion on how to best invest the wealth of UL'DAH. I have to thank you for this recognition, I'm sure, and I am flattered that you came to me, truly flattered. Why settle for a lowly apprentice when you could have the master upon master for profit? There is no living soul better qualified to advise the grave than Chairman Lolorito, a man whose morning excursions are set to fill his garderobe with gold. I should be happy to arrange a meeting for you. Say this at the Scion's former headquarters in THANALAN, Waking Sands. Who seem more suitable? A neutral venue for negotiations, don't you think? Fare you well, and may your dealings prove fruitful. Come back. Did your merchant friend have any useful advice to share? Wait, Lolorito, and you agreed to this? I'm well aware of his standing to fill the business, but I hoped to keep the monstrous at arm's length, and him in particular. Yeah, I cannot live in fear of the man. I must learn how to greet with him if I am to rule UL'DAH effectively. Very well, I will meet with Lolorito. Let us go on ahead to Waking Sands and prepare for his coming. So, this is where the Scions first congregated. I have heard many tales, but never had the occasion to visit. To work done, the hour of meeting draws near. I would gather my thoughts. Pray see to it that we have the appointed room to ourselves.
A personal summons from the Scions. This must be important business indeed. Though, if it concerns anything so underhand as an assassination, I fear I can be of little help.
You just realized that it's the Sultana.
You have made your point. It is indeed unsettling to find oneself seated across from an impassive mask. There, would this better please your grace? Or should I address you as Lady Lilira?
Nay, the deception has served its purpose. I am glad to see you found amusement in my little jest, Lord Lolorito, but shall we proceed to the business at hand?
By all means. I must say I'm most eager to hear your proposal.
Simply put, I would aid the refugees camped in THANALAN in their efforts to return to Alamigo. The reparations you paid in the wake of your earlier misdemeanors will be used to fund the endeavor, together with the fortune seized from the late Teleji Adeleji's estate. But this plan is not intended to benefit the displaced alone. I would make of this an investment which shall enrich UL'DAH and Alamigo both. And who better to consult on matters of profit than the wealthiest man in all of THANALAN? I beseech you then, Lord Lolorito, share with us your mercantile wisdom.
Ah, 'twould seem your grace has matured beyond acts of earnest yet misplaced charity. Pray tell me more. To summarize, In return for facilitating the repatriation of refugees and assisting in the establishment of new industry in Alamigo, you ask that a proportion of all subsequent profits be promised to UL'DAH. Ha! I am impressed, Your Grace. 'Tis an elegant solution, albeit one lacking certain crucial details, specifically which industry and where.
How swiftly you identified the weakness in my plan, just as I knew you would. Your travels have taken you across the length and breadth of Gear Abania, and you know the land far better than I. Which of the settlements you visited would best provide a home for our refugees? Which has the greatest potential to flourish, given the appropriate investment?
Where the heck is Alagana again? Isn't the Saltery the place General Roban used to live? Let's say Saltery, because that's where Roban used to live, right? Saltery?
Ah, yes, that desolate little village on the shore of LOCHS. I know the Saltery and its products well. The Imperial invasion brought an end to their more widespread distribution, much to the dismay of many a wealthy gourmand, myself included. Salt has ever been a transformative ingredient, and in this instance, I dare say, it could transform a modicum of effort into a mountain of gil.
The local citizens will need to be consulted, of course, but I trust the UL'DAH Trading Company can be relied upon to provide its assistance in negotiating a mutually beneficial arrangement.
Naturally, Your Grace. I shall dispatch representatives well-versed in the extraction of this white gold and wring every last ounce of profit from its production. The LOCHS bounty will contribute to Alamigo's enrichment, whilst easing the burden on the bull's aching shoulders, just as Your Grace desired.
A deal is struck then.
It's great that now that we have Lolorito helping us. I mean, he helped us with Domo, right? He helped us take over Domo, right? Like, remember when Lolorito helped us with the UL'DAH Trading Company in Domo? And now he's helping us rebuild Alamigo with Nanamo. So, I don't know. I kind of like Lolorito now. I mean, he did technically save Nanamo's life, but he saved Nanamo's life by betraying us, right? Because he knew about Telegi's assassination, right? He knew about Telegi's assassination, but he saved Nanamo's life by kind of framing it on us, and also he saved Nanamo's life by framing it on us and betraying us and exchanging it with a sleeping potion instead, which was kind of screwed, but yeah. I feel many years before I feel comfortable taking part in such negotiations, but I shall not complain. We have piqued Lolorito's interest and secured his invaluable expertise. I could not have done it without you. Fair enough, fair enough. To describe, I shall return to the palace and have many ministers begin work on implementing the particulars of the plan. If I could prevail upon you one more time, I would ask that you convey the details of our negotiations to Commander Hex on your return to Alamigo. My thanks again. Together we have laid the groundwork for an endeavor, which promises to benefit the people of Alamigo and UL'DAH both. You're back with it. Nanamo. Oh, sorry. Are you allowed to talk about your audience with Sultana? So Robon says he's going to return to UL'DAH, but she isn't sure he wants to. Tell us something we don't know. I'm pleased to hear she's committed to helping our refugee come here. And despite her ties to Saltery, it does make a lot of sense. Quite how you convinced her to seek Lolorito's help is another question. After all, that has happened. He's the very last person I would expect her to turn for advice. But on a more practical note, please, assuming the interim government elects to accept UL'DAH's proposal, I have one caveat I should like you to include in the bargain. Alamigo must be permitted to cover a portion of the investment. We have a fortune at our disposal, after all, and allowing UL'DAH to provide that entirety of the capital will afford Lolorito too much control. Honestly, Alphino, it's like Ugani never happened. What exactly does a ruthless profiteer have to do to earn your trust? But yes, you do make a good point. First things first, though, we need to discuss this proposal with Saltery's residents. Huskar, how do you fancy explaining the Sultana's plan to your grandfather? I'd like to hear what Juan thinks of the idea before agreeing to anything. Right away, Commander. Would you mind coming along? I might need you to fill in the details. And I shall come as well. Should wish to discuss figures, my knowledge of the nation's finances will prove useful. Oh, the Saltery. Okay, that's where the Saltery is. Yes, I know where that is. I thought it was on the lock, or it was on the it's on... That's right. What manner of mischief brings you youngins to Old Want this time, eh? You want to rebuild the Saltery, Granddad? Tell him about the deal. Bugger me, we've never had the coin or the hands to put the place back to how it was. It sounds like that's about to change. Just one small wrinkle in your plan. It doesn't account for all the nasties queuing up to anyone who goes near the shore. The king used 10 essential soldiers to call the buggers. The Imperials weren't built to help the likes of us. Don't worry, Granddad. We'll take care of all of that. Commander Hex has been talking about starting up regular patrols. Sure, she'd assign me to the lock if I asked. Pretty sure I would discard my lad. I truly would. So does this mean you've gotten better with the blade of yours? You've been shining island mostly to kill Imperials. Quite an experience hunting monsters, don't you? Think you could cast an eye over a few of the local beasties and teach me how to deal with them? Not sure, easy. It's not wasting time. I'll see you by the lock. So you are busy attending the lock portfolio. I shall have the Master of What to explain to me exactly what is required to restore Saltery. Let's form the Lord. Alright then, that's fine. We're gonna use that to decompose for these best. Once we've got through the mission, you can tell me what to do, and we'll see how I get. Since you're surrounded for Yabai, you may move your camera as well. Target a Yabai and inspect it. Jaw, maybe? Yeah, the jaw. There we go. The underside of the head looks more soft and vulnerable. Oh, it looks like you found that Yabai. They say hitting their shells like smacking a rock. Any suggestion? Hit its jaw. Aim for the soft underside of the head. Just hit his underside of the head. Vulnerable under the head, are they? Right then, wish me luck. Easy enough. Risk guard in the top was from sort of yappy, yes. Thanks. I did just as you told me, and the wavekin went down like a sack of potatoes. Let's find something else. We're hunting monsters. We're playing Monster Hunter. Now, this is how you play Monster Hunter. Yeah, you drive cars, and you look for monsters, and you hunt them. Right? That's how you do with Monster Hunter. This car, what do you have now? I can handle the Yabais now, so we should try something different. What else is out there? Okay, so now we have to find his weakness, right? The eyes. Yeah, the eyes. Blind him. For this monster, you have to blind him by blinding his eyes. Opposing hands are large and powerful, and strength's Grizzly core should render it susceptible to an enemy, since power pulsating behind its brow. So, how do I defeat one of those? Just hit it really. Just destroy the core within his brow. Inside his head. Stab right between the eyes then. Easy enough. Not easy fighting with the Liberator of Amigo. Watching your every move, but I got the job done. Thanks Thanks for the advice. I feel a lot better prepared for my patrols now. You're right, we should head back to the Saltery department. Grandad starts to work. I'll get snipped to pieces and fed to a Yabai Samson. Oh yeah. We should hurry up before that happens. Let's see if you returned in one piece. Don't think those besties then, did you? Right. I've shot them myself after a bit of instruction from my names. Here, like once, I've shared what I've learned with the others. We should have no trouble keeping the shoreline clear. Good lad. A fine young man you'll become, Uska. A fine young man indeed. Too often I hear tales of folk who are in a city drunk on victory and hungry for revenge, our heads stuck firmly in the past. But we need to set our sights on the future, on things which improve our lot. Things like getting to Saltery ready to lock on our long-lost country. Fino seems satisfied that he and Watt are of one mind. Seeing Muskar has the Saltery's security well in hand, and meanwhile I have discussed the next steps with Master Watt, and completed the inspection of the site. For little work, the vacant buildings here could be made into very presentable dwellings. Message from General Alden. Apologies for the interruption, but the General would speak with you at the earliest convenience. Something going on? Do not feel obliged to wait around on my account. I will remain here to hammer out the finer details of what and act as an attorney for a business partner and all that. You should go. Dear Lad asked that you wait for him by the main gate. You let me get quartered. Apologies again. Fare you well.
Apologies for the wait. People are screaming for the butcher's blood again. No sooner have we broken up one mob than another forms. Thankfully, all have been amenable to reason, thus far. But it is no concern of yours. We must speak of the men Arenvald and his comrades apprehended in the peaks.
By their uniforms, the captives were first judged to be Imperial troops. But after further investigation, their true identities came to light. I dare say you remember UL'DAH and Laurentius, the fugitives who conspired with Captain Ilberd in the Crystal Brave's betrayal. Aye, well, it would seem they followed him all the way to the wall. It was they who orchestrated the slaughter of the resistance fighters prior to the Griffin's infernal ritual.
Were it in your hands, how would you punish these men? You would spare these animals? Yours is a more merciful brand of justice than mine. In any event, I thank you for your honesty. When the time comes for the Alliance to pass judgment, I'll see that your opinion is heard. Well, that concludes our business here. But there is more I would say. Walk with me. I bear a share of the blame for Ilbert's atrocities. Had I openly supported the cause of Alamegan liberation, he might not have felt driven to do what he did. Things could have been different, and I'm sorry they aren't. But even after all that has happened, my homeland is free. With the Scions and the Alliance at their side, my countrymen have reclaimed what many thought lost forever. Under her new leadership, I have every confidence that Alamigo will emerge from the shadow of the Empire and rise once more to greatness. Which means my work here is done. Soon I will return to UL'DAH and take my place at the Sultana's side.
Father...
I'll not deny there's a part of me that wants to stay. The same part that contemplated renouncing my rank and joining you as a wandering sellsword. But I pledged my blade to Nanamo, and I will not betray that oath.
Is this truly what you want, Father?
It is. Ever has my sword been hers to command, and ever shall it remain. Thank you for lending an ear. When all the rest are clamoring for me to stay, I trust you'll send me on my way.
Speak with Robot, Took you longer than I intended. At least you know where I stand. Not a settle? Terrible, what news? We have a problem, sir. Ananta has arrived at main gate, but I don't mean to be one. These are Kalia, those are some of the parliament. To assist them, they allowed to attend the council. Lise is trying to reason with them, but she need help. The invitation was extended to all the native beast tribe. We assumed that Kali would refuse it out of hand. We had best go and see ourselves. We can take command of our forces and be ready for battle. You've dealt with the Kali before. I'd have you at my side. Oh, Precious Robot, guys, it's good to see you. The Slayer has come. I forgot how you signed against the Lady of Bliss. We did not come here to shed blood. We claim to seek harmony with all who call our ABANIA home. It's truly a wish you will welcome us as envoys of Andanta. It is our wish, and you're welcome, but we cannot condone the summoning of primals. If you want to enter the palace, I must ask that you first surrender any crystal. Truly, have my word that I will return to you when the meeting is over. We will do as you ask, but you will not have our weapons. We are not so foolish as to place ourselves entirely at the mercy of our tormentors. I reckon that's the closest we're going to get to a compromise, and we will have people standing guard. Aye, let them keep their swords. Then we have an agreement. Either way to your meeting chamber. Why do I have the feeling we'll come to Viper into our midst? Well, she literally is a Viper. To be fair, they're literally Vipers. That's what they are. Alright then. So that should resolve everything for now. Next time on Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood, we'll try to figure out what to do here in Alamigo. We'll have a meeting, and hopefully everything works out.